Across the bustling streets of Lagos, Nairobi, Accra, and even small rural towns, something unusual is happening. At first, you might not notice it. People are speaking English as they always have, but there is a twist. The tone is softer. The accent sounds lighter. The words flow in a familiar rhythm that doesn't seem African at all. It sounds almost Filipino. Many Africans are starting to speak English in a style that sounds just like English spoken in the Philippines. And the reason behind this surprising change reveals a story of migration, education, technology, and culture that nobody saw coming. For many years, countries across Africa have struggled with one major problem: the high cost of English education. Private English tutors were expensive, language schools charged high fees, and international exams were usually out of reach for ordinary families. But then something changed. Online learning exploded. Suddenly, anyone with a smartphone could learn from a teacher thousands of kilometers away. And guess who was waiting on the other side of the screen? Filipinos. Hundreds of thousands of highly skilled, friendly, patient Filipino teachers began giving English lessons online. And Africans love them. Filipino teachers spoke slowly, clearly, and politely. Their lessons were friendly and fun. They didn't make learners feel embarrassed. Their English was easy to understand. Before long, African students were not only learning English from Filipino teachers, they were copying their accent, tone, and expressions. Have you ever heard someone from Africa say, "It's so beautiful really," or "I will pick you up later, okay," in a smooth, friendly style that sounds Filipino? It's becoming more common every day. In Kenya, thousands of young people began enrolling in online English courses with Filipino tutors to improve their pronunciation for international job interviews. Many call center workers in Nigeria were trained by Filipino instructors because companies believe the Filipino accent is neutral and polite. In Ghana, parents living abroad hired Filipino online tutors to teach their children English at home. The result? Kids who have never left Africa speak English, as if they were raised in Manila or Cebu. Isn't it interesting how language can connect countries that are so far apart? Why do you think African learners feel so comfortable with Filipino teachers? Share your thoughts in the comment section. But this growing connection didn't just happen through school. It was also pushed by jobs. Many businesses in Africa are outsourcing training, customer service, and online support to Filipino trainers. These trainers teach not only grammar, but also speech style, tone, and customer communication. When young Africans enter these jobs, they adapt quickly, copying everything from pronunciation to polite phrases like "thank you for waiting" and "please hold on." Language is not just words, it is behavior. When you start speaking like someone, a part of their culture enters your voice. Another powerful influence is social media. African TikTok creators and YouTubers watch Filipino content daily, especially lifestyle vloggers, comedians, and singers. Many African creators copy Filipino styles of speaking because they sound friendly, humble, and entertaining. You can hear it in prank videos, reaction videos, cooking channels, and even relationship advice shows. Some creators admit they learn English by watching Filipino vloggers. Others say the Filipino accent helps them gain international viewers because it is clear and easy to follow. Have you ever watched an African YouTuber and suddenly realized they sound like a Filipino vlogger? It's almost like two cultures are mixing online. One of the biggest reasons this style is spreading is because the Filipino approach to English does not sound hard. Many Africans admire British or American accents, but find them difficult to copy. The Filipino style is easier. It uses simple words, simple tone, and friendly facial expressions. Because it is easier to learn, it spreads faster. Before long, entire classrooms and workplaces start sounding similar. So the question is, will this continue until many Africans speak English with a Filipino flavor? Drop your answer in the comments and tell us what you think. There is also something deeper happening. The Philippines and many African countries share a long history of colonization and struggle. Both understand what it means to fight for education, dignity, and global recognition. Many Africans feel connected to Filipinos because they are warm, family-oriented, respectful, and hardworking. Values many African cultures also hold. When people feel connected, they naturally copy each other. Sometimes you don't adopt a language because it is powerful. You adopt it because it feels familiar. Does this mean Africans and Filipinos are more alike than they realize? Some African parents say they prefer Filipino tutors for their children because they teach gently. They don't rush. They don't shout. They make learning fun. Children grow up copying the English of the person who talks to them the most. If that person is a Filipino tutor, the result is predictable, a Filipino-style accent on an African tongue. Now, imagine millions of children learning this way. What will the future sound like? Music is playing a role too. African listeners love Filipino singers on YouTube who post English covers of popular songs. Young people copy their pronunciation while singing. And it doesn't stop there. Comedy skits, reaction videos, gaming channels, and cooking tutorials are full of Filipino English, and African creators are repeating the same style. The internet has made imitation effortless. A phone and internet connection, and suddenly accents move from one country to another in seconds. There is also another surprising reason. Some Africans choose the Filipino style because it is easier to understand internationally. In a job interview, especially with companies from Europe, America, and Asia, speaking clearly can be the difference between getting hired or losing the opportunity. Many African workers say they pass interviews more easily when they speak softly and clearly like Filipino call center trainers taught them. This means Filipino English is not just spreading for fun. It is spreading for survival. But not everyone is happy about it. Some argue that Africans should keep their local English accents and not copy another. Others believe accents do not matter as long as communication works. Some students even mix African slang with Filipino tone, creating a new blend of speech that has never existed before. What do you think? Should Africans keep their natural English accents, or is it okay to speak in the Filipino style if it helps communication and job opportunities? Share your opinion in the comment section. Despite these opinions, one thing is certain. The connection between Africa and the Philippines is growing stronger every day. Online teachers from Manila teach students in Kenya. Call center trainers from Cebu help Nigerian workers sound confident on international calls. Philippine YouTubers influence Ghanaian vloggers. Filipino TikTok comedians inspire Ugandan creators. A few years ago, nobody would have imagined this cultural bridge. Today, it reaches millions. If you are enjoying this documentary, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video so more people can learn about this surprising connection between Africa and the Philippines. It helps the channel grow and encourages us to make more amazing stories like this. Many Africans who switch to the Filipino style say it makes them feel more confident. They feel friendlier, more polite, and more expressive. The Filipino way of speaking English often uses smiling, soft gestures, and positive tone. Some Africans say their relationships improved just because of the way they spoke. Words can change how people treat you. Have you ever changed the way you speak to be understood better? There is also a funny side to all this. Some African students pick up Filipino slang like char, jijol, or ay naku, and use them without even knowing what they mean. Others start adding the word pa and opio, even though those words belong to the Filipino language, not English. Language has a way of traveling beyond logic. When you copy someone enough, their culture sneaks into your speech. Even African teachers are now learning from Filipino teachers. Some schools invite Filipino instructors to train their staff online. Soon, African teachers start speaking like Filipinos too. When students hear teachers talk in that style, it becomes normal. Once something becomes normal in a school, it spreads into homes, churches, workplaces, and social media. Now imagine what will happen 30 years from today. A generation of children across Africa could grow up speaking English like people in the Philippines, not because anyone forced them, but because they learned online, watched Filipino content, and worked with Filipino trainers. Would that make Africa and the Philippines closer allies in the future? This raises a deeper question. Is language changing faster now because of technology? In the past, it took hundreds of years for accents to change. Today, accents can move from one country to another in a single decade. Does this mean the internet is creating a new global accent? If so, what will English sound like in the future? Will it be American, British, or a gentle mix of Filipino, African, Indian, and global influences? Where do you think English is heading? This connection shows something beautiful. People do not need borders to learn from each other. They can live thousands of kilometers apart and still share speech, culture, and friendship. It also shows that learning can come from unexpected places. Who would have guessed that one of the biggest influences on African English would be a nation of warm, patient teachers from Southeast Asia? If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And most importantly, tell us what you think. Is this change good, bad, or simply part of the future? Are accents important, or is communication what truly matters? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. The world is listening.